Hello. I'm gonna be looking down because that's where my script is, because I do not remember and I only have time for one shot because I have to go to work, hence the collar. Welcome back to my channel. This doll is literally just a guilty pleasure for me because if I like a doll line, I feel like I want to add my own little one to it and design one that would go with them. So that's what this is. This one is gonna be for the Bratz and the Hello Kitty collab. So Bratz did a Hello Kitty collab with 3 of their dolls, which doesn't really make sense, and there was a big uproar about it. I don't really know much, but Sasha is coming, supposedly in a wave 2. I don't know if that means we'll get different dolls. So I don't currently own the Hello Kitty ones right now, the Bratz Hello Kitty ones, so hopefully, because I think Cleo is a bit weird looking to me, and maybe there'll be different variations in wave 2. So I want to make sure I get the ones I really like and not have to go buy them twice, because I think it would be weird if they just had wave 2 with just one doll. So I don't think that's what's gonna happen, so I'm just gonna wait and see. If not, I will just get them, and then I'm waiting for a sale because I do not like to pay full price for dolls. But I do not own them yet, so that's why they're not in this video at all. But I still love the idea, and I know I will get them, so I wanted to do a doll with that theme to display with them. I've done this before I even did my YouTube channel or even thought about it with my, this is a very interesting one, but the, oh my gosh, Poopsie Slime unicorn dolls. I did those and I made my own one, and that was super fun. So that's kind of why I wanted to do this one. Jumping into it now. I didn't really have an idea, so I started just gathering ideas on Pinterest, what other people have done, AI. People put in like doll prompts and stuff, and to see what that does. Originally I was going to do a rainbow high doll because that's just one I really enjoy. I love the eyes and I have a lot of them. So that is just one I was going to do. However, my mind for some reason connected that Barbie did a weird collab. I'm going to butcher this and I'm so sorry. I've never heard of them. I don't know what they are. But Barbie did a collab with Noonoouri. I have no idea what it is. I just remember that there was a big talk about it then when they came out because it looks nothing like a Barbie doll. It has inset eyes and the proportions are very off for a Barbie. But my raccoon brain was like, this doll looks perfect for a Hello Kitty collab. My mind is just like, the proportions are just right. It's got huge eyes and the little itty bitty regular the rest of the facial features. So after that, I could not just, like, nothing that I looked at with Rainbow High was just going to compare to that. So I did go on to Mercari. Oh yeah, none of this is sponsored, by the way, but I do mention Mercari, and I also have the link to the dolls somewhere because they are very interesting to look at. And I don't think that Mattel is going to do another Barbie collab this well, because as of right now they are still on sale. So if you do like them for whatever reason, you know, no judgment, but the link will be somewhere around here. I'll make my boyfriend create it, pop it up somewhere if you do want to go look at them. Anyway, back to Mercari. I went and I found the brown haired one. I don't know their names, but I think that is Noonoouri. I don't know, but I think that's her. And I ended up, after shipping, paying about $40 for her, which is still very expensive. So I wanted to try and use what I had after that. And yes, she does have a small stain on her chin right here. I didn't notice it when I was buying her, or maybe I did, I don't know. But I will remove it. However, it is still very much winter here, and the way to remove it, I either need heat or sunlight, and I'm just gonna wait for summer to do it. So yes, she will have a stain on her, but it's just not the correct weather to remove it yet. And I'm not gonna do anything with the face because I don't want to mess it up or anything, because I do think that these dolls are gonna become a bit, not on the rarer side, but I think they will be more of like a one of a kind that you won't really be able to see Barbie doing something this different, because again, these dolls didn't sell well, and Mattel is just very much price driven. because she was so expensive, I really wanted to use what I had. So I have a binder full of secondhand clothes that I find at the outlets or just on random dolls that I buy. So I put them in there just for fun, and maybe I'll use them someday. So I really wanted to do that. It is still winter here, like earlier said. So I was still in like a very wintry mood. So I wanted her to be more of a winter doll. Also, we just got done with snow again. So there is still snow on the ground. And right now it's still in like the fun area where the dogs walk in it and it sounds like horses because it's starting to melt and then refreezes on the top. So they just like walk on it. It's so fun. Poor baby. So I really wanted to try pants, and trying to do that because usually pants are more of the winter variety. However, it didn't really work out because I only have 2 pairs of pants and a short overalls. Nothing really looked right, so I went and looked in the dresses, and I found it's weird. I picked this dress because it had a jean skirt on it, and I saw a lot of jeans for Hello Kitty. That seems to be like one of the more popular Hello Kitty options. So I picked that, and I did order another Hello Kitty thing from Macari because I did want one official like Hello Kitty merch item that was made. Sorry, it is very cold. Let's do a little sippy sip. Hopefully that helps. Barbie has released some Hello Kitty items in the past, so I went on Macari and liked a whole bunch of them and then picked out of the ones I liked what I wanted the best. I ended up picking a red hoodie with Hello Kitty like drawing on it. I mention this now because this has a top on it that is sewn to the dress, that is sewn to the skirt, which makes it a dress. But the shirt doesn't really have anything to do with it, but I really just liked the jean skirt. So that is mostly why I picked it, and I wasn't too worried about the top because it would be covered. And I did know at this time that I wanted it covered, so that is why I wasn't too worried about it. So this also gave me a good color scheme as well because the hoodie was going to be red, so she was already going to be a little bit more red dominant. So that means I could do pink on the bottom of the skirt because Hello Kitty is usually associated with red and pink and white, of course, because she is a white kitty cat. Yes, she's a kitty cat. Anyway, not the point. And so I went on the hunt. I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but my grandma, when she passed, I inherited a lot of just small sewing stuff. She is a very large part of why I do so. And hopefully one day I'll be even just half as talented as she is because, oh my gosh, she made some of the most amazing things and I could never, but hopefully one day I'm just as good as her or even as half as good as her. I would be happy with, but that is not here nor there. But I did inherit a lot of small sewing stuff. So I went on the hunt and I gathered everything pink I could find. And now I'm just going to go vomit all this pink onto this bottom of the dress. I don't have a good rhyme or reason. I don't have a good plan figured out. It's just haphazardly going what I like. And I decided I liked a pink ruffle. I don't know why. I think I saw these shorts that had a pink ruffle and a white fur, strip on top of it. And I was like, yes. The pink ruffle I originally had was too large, so I ended up cutting that in half with the intention of singeing it at the very end in case I did more of that to seal the edge. I didn't end up actually doing that, so there are going to be a few stray threads around until I get to putting puppy paint on it. So bear with me, it will look a bit ugly, however, it does get fixed. I just wanted to wait until the very end in case I added more and needed to do it again. Another thing, after I did the ruffle, I found this tiny little piece of lace that I thought would be fun to add onto it. However, it was too thick, so I ended up cutting that in half as well and sewing that all together. I ended up doing 2 of the pink ruffles and then 1 of the lace ruffles. I just gathered that and attached it all to the biggest ruffle. So when I sewed it to the skirt, I didn't have to finagle 3 tiny things. I could just sew 1 larger strip of fabric onto the skirt. So that is why I do that kind of stuff if it's smaller, specifically in doll stuff, because it is just easier to attach 1 larger thing than like 2 or 3 smaller things onto the skirt, especially when it comes to layering. Layering makes my brain hurt sometimes. This little thing ended up becoming the VIP. It is this pink little sparkle accent. I ripped off a kid's costume a few years ago and have no use for it until now. I ended up wrapping that around the edge of the skirt, and then I had a little bit left, so I wanted to add it around where the shirt met the skirt as kind of a belt and to add it more of like a cohesive look. But before that, my brain was actually working again with layering. I knew I wanted to cover up the checkered print because I couldn't think of anything that would make it decent. So I thought I would just cover it up with red. Again, the top of this thing is not going to be very seen, so I didn't want to go heavy on it. The skirt is going to be the main accent point. Is going to be the main focus, so the shirt is going to be more of the less detailed one to balance it out. However, I could not figure out how to do that with the checkered, so I took just some red stretchy fabric from the Pennywise costume that I still have leftovers on, and I took off a piece and just sewed it right, just smack dab over the checkered bit. And now we are getting into the fun bit, which is puffy paint. I did see some shorts that had a Hello Kitty face on it, but that one was cut out of it was double denim on top of each other. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough stuff to do that, so I just ended up doing puffy paint on that and just freehanding the face. Loved it so much. And then back to the brats. I think it's not Sasha. Sasha's not out yet. I wrote Sasha down on this, but I'm pretty sure it's Yasmin. I was excited about Sasha. I'm pretty sure Yasmin has big jeans on and they have white bow, like just stamps on them. So I really liked that as well. So I ended up doing that on the skirt too. And then that's where I finished off for that day. And then I came back because for a few things. The main part is going to be I wanted to add fur. And fur gets messy, so I wanted to do that on like a different day. I still had some left over from the elf costume, so I ended up just using the leftovers of that. Love that. So I took a small strip of white fabric that kept breaking, so I ended up having to use 2 smaller pieces and just sew them on. I did end up loosely sewing these on because I was worried that it would just snap off again, so that's why they're not as secure as everything else is, which is a bit sad. And then again, I'm really in the winter weather. I love leg warmers. I call them leg socks, and so I really wanted to do that with her. I've seen a few Pinterest items where they mix and match, where like one's white, one's red, or one's pink and one's red. So I ended up having 1 white and 1 red, and I think it looked so cute afterwards. Love it. And then the main thing for this day is I wanted to do this Hello Kitty hat. I have been seeing it so much and I fell in love with it, and I'm like, yes. I've never made a hat, so I spent 4 hours crafting this, and it is not perfect by any means, just a heads up. So I'm not going to go super in depth with it, but I will just briefly talk about what I did. When making something new, I always go with a paper pattern and just kind of drape it. Where I want it to be. Paper doesn't work as well as fabric, but it kind of gives me the base shape. And then I make a mock-up out of fabric, and then I move on to the actual product. That is what I did here. Now, be warned, if I am going to use it, say it's like a shirt pattern for like a rainbow high doll or like a Barbie, something that I know I'm going to use again, the paper in the mock-up section can go back and forth a few times. However, I don't think I'll ever have a purpose for a hat like this. Noonoouri has a very specific head shape. Don't know if that's her name. I think it is. It has a very specific head shape, so I didn't spend a lot of time on the pattern making on this because I'm pretty sure this is just going to be a one-off. So I pretty much did from the mock-up and originally just jumped right into the final product. I also wanted this to be lined. I don't know, I guess I really want to try and up my sewing skill. So, you know, lining, make it, cut it out of the good fabric, good side to good side, sew it up, leave a mouth, flip it, and then sew that mouth shut just really quickly. I also watched a few videos to figure out what I was going to do with it, but I thought that would be a bit boring to watch. So I ended up only watching about 30 seconds of one and then like going, okay, I can do it from here, just wing it. The ears are just triangles that I freehanded and then sew them up and then sew them on. And then I found this red ribbon that was from Christmas that was literally tying something else, so it was literally just garbage. It was just pretty garbage. But now it'll be a bow. I quickly had to learn how to tie the bow on that, so that is why I sewed it so good tightly on. Like, that bow's not going anywhere, and I did not want it to fall off because I do not think I could retie it. One thing that grandma did leave me a whole bunch of was ribbon, so I ended up having to do 3 of them instead of just 2 because the first one I did was, well, get into that later. I need to talk about what I'm doing first. Okay, ribbon. I ended up having 3 shades of pink, which is perfect because the hat I was doing it was one that covers the ears, and then they have little dingle hoppers, whiskers, hanging down things. I don't know. I'm calling them dingle hoppers. So they have little dingle hoppers that fall down, and then they have little pom-poms on them. So I needed to make the dingle hopper. So I ended up doing just braiding the 3 together. The first one was kind of a trial, which came out a bit loose. The second one I did a lot tighter, and they weren't the same size, so I had to do a third one, and I ended up going with the more tighter braided one because I think it looked a bit better because the ribbons really shrank down and it was the better scale. And this is also the part where layering becomes important and is a bit confusing for me because originally, if you were doing this the correct way, you would attach the dingle hoppers to the hat before you sewed it together with the lining and then flipped it inside out. So the ugly bit, as what they call it, when you sew something together and there's that where you see the attachment, it is not perfect and it's not like good to see that in today's standards. So if you were going to do this, whatever reason, you would do dingle hoppers first and then cut out the hat pattern and then sew them together. So the dingle hoppers to the either fabric and then do the lining and then flip it. So when you flipped it out, the dingle hoppers would just be coming out of the lining and it looked really nice. But I did not do that, so you can see where they are attached, which I also think is okay. But layering, I sometimes get there half and half. It is kind of hard for me. Okay, but now it's time for the pom-pom. I did not actually have the correct size pom-pom, so I had to make my own. Thankfully, I still have one of the big ones from the Pennywise costume again, so I just took a little bit on that. The first one is a bit sad looking, but hey, it's okay. Not everyone has to be a big, beautiful, full pom-pom to be a beautiful pom-pom. So we will not judge the sad pom-pom, even though the second one is clearly superior, but don't tell them that. But yeah, just basically tie it and trim it up a little bit. But pom-poms, I'm not sure if these are super secure to the hat because I'm not sure how to do it, and I'm almost out of glue and I didn't want to use glue on this one, so I just sewed them on. Fingers crossed they don't come off. I don't really think I'll be messing around with her too hard, but don't really know. Sadly, again, this is my first hat, and some of the, I think I missed a seam somewhere because it doesn't necessarily lay flat. It kind of wants to do this number, just go flung. But I do have some small pins that you can kind of see on one of the final photos and stuff that I ended up just taking small pins, looping it through the lining and just sticking it in her earring holes to keep the hat down, and I think it's fine and it looks really cute. I also pick up all the shoes that I can because shoes are expensive if you need to buy them secondhand. So I pick up shoes I couldn't find, I had like about 3 pairs that I thought would work, but a lot of them didn't fit because she has very weird feet. Why does she have such weird feet? I don't know. Not my choice. But I ended up going with the ones that actually fit, and that happened to be just tennis shoes with stars. Yes, they are different colors. However, Barbie is no different, and I don't know what brand these are. I don't think they're Barbie. However, don't be afraid if they're different colors. It's the same shoe pattern. Barbie does it all the time, where it's the same shoe, but they just do it in a bunch of different colors. Saves money. Lazy things, I guess. Don't know. But oh, look, I'm gonna do a really cool YouTube trick on this. It's a transition. I don't think I've done a transition yet. It was pretty cool, wasn't it? Also, what's really a fun fact, I actually based them off of a real Hello Kitty shoe. Not as many stars, but I thought that was really cool. My boyfriend says, after I showed him, he's like, oh, she looks like a Japanese street girl. And I love that for her. So she looks like a Japanese street character, or just a Japanese street fashion person. And I love that for her. I see it. The shoes definitely didn't help with that. And I just think it's so cool. I love that style, just embodying whatever makes you happy to wear it. I just love that mindset, and I'm so happy for her about it. I was also thinking that this was so fun. Maybe I should try and get the other one, which was a Barbie in this collab, to maybe do a summer or warm weather one, since this girly is obviously a cool weather one. Maybe I can do like a warm weather one, but we'll see what happens. And I think she'll look really cool next to the Bratz one. Again, I don't have them yet because I am waiting for either a sale and Wave 2 to come out. Chloe does look a bit strange for me, that I'm really just waiting for to see if another Chloe one comes out. I think it's the bangs. I don't know. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really love how she came out. She's super cute. And I hope that this gave you inspiration that if it's not perfect, you don't always have to repaint. But, you know, if you have a doll brand that you love, like a line, try doing your own. It's super fun. But, you know, can't go wrong. It's always fun. So, thanks, guys. I'm gonna go crawl back into my little trash can pile. And all snuggly. Bye, guys!